So good. Brought back so many memories. I saw the Beatles at Hollywood Bowl. I saw them at Dodger Stadium because I love Paul McCartney. And that was my heartthrob. And then I think I saw him remember that year they had, everybody called it Old Cella? Mick Jagger was there, Bob Dylan was there. I think Paul was back for that. But anyway, was he? Oh, but I think he played at Old Cella too. Yeah. So anyway, so we have grown up in such amazing music, and it continues on. And I feel so grateful to be here. I feel so grateful for everybody that's here in this and our wonderful musical team. So our talk today is, where do you live? Okay, I know you live here in the desert, but I'm not talking about that. Well, not all of you live here in the desert. Some are visiting. But where do you live? And so I picked this picture because there's the darkness, but there's the light. And what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the darkness or the light? So right now, there might feel like there's a lot of this going on. Fear is the great enemy of humankind, but fear is a mental attitude, and as such can be converted into something else. So I want you to remember, fear stands for false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. Don't get sucked in to that fear, that negativity. You are here to be the light. There are no accidents that you are living at this time in our evolution, because you are bringing the consciousness. Remember the master teacher, Jesus, they made it into a religion. So Jesus said, God and I are one, and all that I can do, you can do and more. We have that power, but society, churches and everything have told us we are less than. We are sinners. We might be mistakers, but we're not sinners. So move forward. Think only about your dream and never think about what you do not want. And I know we're being bombarded, no matter if you're left or right, with negativity, things to make us fear. Stop it. Stop it. Just know that everything, the darkness, wakens us up sometimes to the light and what to focus on. So there's a power in you that can overcome all obstacles. It will lift you out of confusion and enable you to see clearly what is before you. So look at your life and the areas of your life, if you have any areas in your life that suck, then focus on the things you do have. Let those go. Call in the things you want to experience. Let's say you're fearful about money or your health, whatever. So let's take money. Just know that I am abundant. The universe always takes care of me. There's nothing to fear. Keep that in your consciousness. Focus on that. Don't necessarily focus on your checking account or savings that might be shrinking. Focus on what you do have, and every day how important it is. Be that light. So awakening isn't always beautiful. Sometimes it feels like confusion, grief, sadness, or being out of place, but you're not going crazy. You're evolving. And I was listening to a podcast. In fact, it's the author of the book that we're going to be studying, just Jeffrey Hoppin. He channels, and you might not be into that stuff, but I am. Okay, because I have Big Laura always talking to me. And so when I ask her, otherwise she's pretty good about not bothering me, but usually when I ask her for something, she gives me a message. But so here's the thing, we are evolving. We are going through this kind of turmoil, I guess you would all agree, not just our country, but globally. We are all fighting. There are those that are fighting for the old, fighting for that control. All of us here, that's why we come to the center, to take this light. We don't have to preach to anybody, oh, you know. No, we just need to be the light always. Regardless of what's going on, you have an effect. Be that joy. Even if your life is going through a rough time right now, find the things that are those beautiful nuggets in your life. Focus on those. Your health, whatever it is. Because when things change inside of you, things change around you. So the more you focus on the positivity, that light, that heart, that love that you are, you impact not just yourself, but you impact the ones around you that then go forward and they impact others. We are powerful. We are divine beings. It's not because you're at our center, it's because of who you are. This is just a reminder of who you are. So if you focus on the hurt, you will continue to suffer. If you focus on the lesson, you will continue to grow. So what did you learn from maybe a bad relationship or something negative in your life? Maybe it was your work that you weren't happy with, or your spouse. There's a lot of things that it could be. I'm sure if we went around, we would hear a bunch of things. But what is the lesson you learned? I've shared many times, my dad was very strict with me and yelled at me and this and that. And I said, I'm not going to do that to my kids. That was my lesson that I learned. And as you saw last week, I have a fabulous family. I'm very blessed. So our days are happier when we give people a piece of our heart instead of a piece of our mind. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that if somebody has a different perspective of what's going on in the world than you do, just send them love. Just let them say what they need to do and just send them love. That's all. It doesn't help you or them if you're arguing with them. Don't go in the darkness. Stay in the light. So stay positive. The only difference between a good day and a bad day is your attitude. Amen? Have you experienced that when have you ever just woke up and just like, oh, yeah, this day sucks. I've got to do this or got to do that. And then you stop and think, I don't even know if I'll make it through this day. None of us know how long we're going to be here. So we need to make the best of every moment, to be that love, to feel that love, to spread that love, to spread kindness in this world, regardless of what's going on. We're going through a new evolution. And everybody that I've listened to, what's going on, the differences, it's bringing us into a higher level of consciousness and love, and that's why you're here. So today when you open your eyes, be grateful for this beautiful world, grateful for the people who make our life beautiful, and always be grateful for getting another chance at life. Remember that every day. Don't look at the list and go, oh, I got to do this, I got to. No, I'm still here. I look around, at least these mountains, not necessarily those mountains over there right now, but these mountains are still really beautiful. They've been really beautiful. But we're so blessed, and look at everything, every breath you take. Yes, I know some of you have gone through bad things, and you may be going through something terrible now, but go over to the 1 Minute Miracles and have a prayer done for you if you're going through something, because it's the positivity, the energy that you put in the world. So here's a little prayer that I thought I made copies if anybody wants this. There is one Spirit everywhere present, containing everything, lacking nothing, creating out of itself and becoming what it creates. Spirit has provided everything I will or could ever require to live a life of purpose, joy, and fulfillment. I am one with Spirit from the depth of my soul to the expression of my daily thoughts and actions. I keep this in mind whatever I encounter on my journey. Say that. Remember that. Get a copy of it if it touches your heart. Something to remind you of the truth of who you are. As Jesus said, I and the Father are one. There isn't this God up there in a throne going, oh, God, Annie, what you said today was terrible. There's a black mark. No, it's not that. It's not that. It is within you. It is as you. Each one of us is that unique expression. So don't live in the dark. Live in the light. And now I will turn it over to the beautiful, amazing Dr. Dale.
Oh, my God. Thank you for that. Oh, so when you said what was it? Fear is false appearances, false evidence appearing real. I was thinking of this snarky version. See, Dr. Laura, if you don't know this, she is known as the irreverent reverend. And I've been noticing something lately that it's really rubbing off on me. I'm just really, in my conversations, not just here at the center, but everywhere I go, it's like, your big Laura is becoming my big Laura or something. Anyway, it's Big Dale, yeah. So I was thinking of an acronym I heard for fear, which is F everything and run. F everything and run. Use that one. Well, it appeals to the survival part of our consciousness that we carry from being who we are. So I wanted to start with a Bible quote today from John 14-2 or 14:2. In my Father's house are many mansions. And I've always liked this quote because the way that I interpret it is that within all of us are many, many aspects of life, of levels of consciousness, of attributes of who we are. And I mean the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, there's a place inside of us where we really feel that spiritual essence of who we are. And there's places inside of us where we feel the fear. There's also places inside of us where we feel the emotion. There are so many mansions inside of ourselves. We're like Sybil, for those of you who know Sybil is. But it's true, and I honestly, I think we've come to a point in our evolution and understanding who we are psychologically and emotionally where we can actually say, yes, I have many mansions inside of this house, and I embrace them all because they're all a part of us. When Dr. Laura, this was her idea, or Big Laura's idea, to ask the question, where do you live? You know, I took it to mean, where do I live inside of my consciousness? Where do I take my roots and plant myself? You know, which part of me am I going to? Because I believe that your consciousness is where you live. And so with knowing that there's many aspects to who we are, where do you spend the most time? Do you spend most of your time in fear? Do you spend most of your time in love and laughter and joy? Do you spend most of your time feeling frustrated? These are good things to become aware of because I think many of us, until I came into this philosophy and really dug in and took the time to be curious about my consciousness, I didn't know where I was living most of the time. I was just kind of in a state of just reacting and just being who I thought I was without really taking a moment and reflecting upon who am I, right? And I think that's a question that's really healthy for all of us to ask. Because we teach here that this life, this consciousness, it's an inside job. I can't do it for you. I can stand up here and teach you and tell you about my stuff, but I can't change you. I can't give you what to reflect on. That's yours to do. So we are pure, unformed, unlimited energy. That's who we are. That's what we teach here. We bring that energy into form through our beliefs, and it becomes the inner house in which we live. I love that we teach that here because there are times where we really identify with our conditioning. We identify who our parents told us we were, who our teachers told us we were. These limited things that we attach to, identify with, and believe that is who we are. But what we teach here is you are so much bigger than that you are this amazing energy field that is unlimited. Dr. Laura was telling me this morning about the book that she's going to be starting in a couple of weeks, and she said, Dale, we're like multidimensional. We don't just live here in this moment. We live everywhere, multidimensional. And my heart was singing a song of joy because that sounds really cool, doesn't it? That we're like all this, the potential is huge for us when we believe that. You don't need to figure out what that means, but when you believe that, you open the door for your energy and your mind to expand to greater fields of being in this world. So our spirit shrinks when we allow our experiences to limit our possibilities. We've all been there. You know, we grow up in what we grow up, and we believe what we believe, and then we shrink ourselves, all that potential. You know, we live in the one room that says you're not enough. We live in that room. I don't like that room. I burned that room down a long time ago, by the way. I don't like it. It just wasn't working for me. And we can do that. We can just get rid of those rooms inside of ourselves where we're less than or limited, not enough. And we can redo those rooms. We can have a makeover for those rooms and make them the room of I am more than enough. I am plentiful. I'm everything. So it's really important for us to see how our experiences have affected us. Become the observer. Start to figure things out inside yourselves. The answers are all there for you. You don't really need to go anywhere because they're right there inside of yourself. You just need to ask the question, and the answers will come that will allow you to just see your experiences as things that happened, but they don't need to become who you are. They don't need to be the rooms that you live in forever, and just give up on all this good that there is for you to live into. So there's this thing called negative bias. We all are kind of like wired to think negatively. It's a survival mechanism, right? Does that make it feel a little bit better? You don't have to say, oh, I'm such a negative person. No, it's a survival mechanism. We need to see things negatively because it protects us from going into situations that are dangerous. But I'll tell you, this thing has gone haywire for most of us, right? We're negative about everything. And we really should take a moment to think about why we're doing that, why we're seeing something so negatively. You know, I've got to talk about it. Something happened in Palm Springs this weekend, right? Right? And my mind went to all kinds of negative places. You know, they're our sister city. We know people that might have been affected by it. You know, and I went into this place of blaming this and blaming that, and, you know, here we go again, and this world's going to hell in a handbasket. I went there because of negative bias. It's like a knee jerk. I couldn't help it. But then Big Dale arrived. She arrived, and she said, "You call yourself a minister?" She likes to have fun with me. And I was like, okay, lay it on me. What's up? And so I started to have a conversation with myself that said, you know, we don't know what went on in that person's life that made the decision to do what he did. And I started thinking about that I feel, when we were doing that song this morning about love, I realized he didn't have that place inside of himself where love is. He probably didn't have that room available to him where he could walk in and feel love. And I don't know how he got like that. I can't explain it. You know, I was thinking about cultural things that are missing from our society that might have helped him adjust to life a little differently, but it doesn't matter, that part of it. What matters is I came to a place of love and compassion, because as somebody who practices spirituality, which I know most of you guys do, you come here on Sundays, you're practicing spirituality. You're looking to see at this world that seems so chaotic and difficult to understand. You come here because we give you another way to look at it. We give you a way to look at it where we come from the heart, where we come from love. No matter what has happened, to see it through the eyes of love and spirit, and to have some understanding and compassion. So that's what Big Dale said. Have a little compassion, because that person was tore up inside. That person did not love himself. And so I'm able to go there, and I'm able also, though, to be upset that they had to make that decision, that there wasn't another option to resolve the inner conflict. So I can be with all of it, but I sit in the room of love. That's where I live, is in love, but able to see everything without living in the fear and the angst of it all. So we don't deny or insulate ourselves from the effects of this world. Many of us in this center get accused of that, of saying, oh, you guys just ignore reality. Oh, no, we don't ignore it at all. Very clear on what reality is doing today, as far as I can see it. And we don't insulate ourselves from it. I don't say, oh, it doesn't exist. I accept it because it's happening. But what I don't do, as you can see this picture here, this is a bird making a nest. What we don't do is make our home, our nest, from the effects of this world, because that's not going to be good for us if it's negative effects. There's some good effects out there, but if we're taking all this negativity and making it a nest for us to sit in, we are not going to do well. We are not going to be at peace. We're going to be very uncomfortable in this world. And that's not what we teach here. We teach you to make a nest out of love, a nest out of peace and joy, all the good things in this world. Your relationships with your family members that give you love and life and support, like Dr. Laura. She had a nest going right behind her. Her whole family was here. That's something to make a nest out of. So that's what we do with this world. We see it, we can be with it, we accept it because it's happening. We do whatever's ours to do to swing it maybe in a better direction. But we don't make it our inner home where we're going to live. So I give you this quote. I love Ernest Holmes, and I just found this in my daily read. He says, I tune out all dull, negative ideas and tune in with the sunshine of life, with brightness and laughter, with the joyous presence that is life itself. Ernest knows exactly how to pull our consciousness, our focus, into such a place where we are steeped in love, steeped in that life force of spirit that we are, and shift us to seeing things a lot differently. And that's why I like to talk about him here, why Dr. Laura does, and Reverend William, and everybody else. We like to give you Ernest Holmes because he's a really great antidote to the things of this world that upset us. And he goes into us to assimilate these words that bring a new way of seeing and feeling that things are getting better, and they can when we believe they can. So the foundation of our philosophy teaches that you're always free to improve the conditions of your life. You are. Sometimes we feel like we're not, that there's nothing we can do. We call that victim consciousness. That's another room. That's another room you want to stay out of or redo it. Redo it. Make it your warrior consciousness. Make it your victor consciousness. But we are always free. It's just a thought away. It's just a decision away. The thing is, though, if you want to change your life, you've got to believe that you can. And sometimes that's a tall order, because sometimes we've done life and we've made mistakes and we just can't seem to get that whatever you call it. We can't take a step forward and make it better. And so we feel like, I can't do this, but you can. You just have to believe that you can and let that energy take you forward into the change. And there's one more thing. You must do the work. I had a counseling session with somebody last week, and I had to use the D word on him. I said, you got to be disciplined, man. He said, I come to this center, I love what I hear here, I'm filled up, and I go out of here, and 2 days later, I'm in the dumps again. And I said, you've got to use your discipline. You've got to start doing some sort of spiritual practice or listening to something uplifting. Read something, meditate, just do something. I think we think sometimes that you need to spend 20 hours a day in spiritual practice to make any change in your life. I'm telling you, 5 minutes will do it. 5 minutes will start to shift you. It can be that little, but we got to do something every single day. I wish it was as easy as me just casting my fairy wand all over you guys and just saying, it's done. Well, I guess I could say that if I believed it truly. Maybe I need to do work on my consciousness. Anyways, I can't do that and make it all happen. I've tried 1,000,000 times. You got to take it from here and bring your life to a higher place. And you can do it really easily. We got classes here that are great. Come join us. This is how we do the work, by moving our consciousness into a place in which we are deepening our faith, by reminding ourselves who we are and the power that we have. So sometimes we have no idea where we've been living until we open our eyes and realize it's our creation. right? We're bumping around. We don't even know, am I here, am I there, am I everywhere? But when we open our eyes and say, wait a minute, and we do a lot of opening of eyes here. When we open our eyes and go, oh my God, I created this whole mess because this is where I'm living. I'm living in something that's creating this, right? Our energy creates our reality. We say this week after week. So where's your energy living? Are you living in fear? Are you living in anxiety? Are you living in frustration? If you're living there, this is going to reflect that. So we got to start living in a better place. When we realize where we're living, we can change where we live. It is that easy. So I love this idea of living in the penthouse. Years and years ago, I took a class and somebody talked about penthouse consciousness. I was like, I like that penthouse consciousness. And if you look at this picture, what's really interesting is you've got the glass, right? But you're living in this wonderful, luxurious, beautiful home, very comfortable, but you're still able to see outside. And this, to me, is where it's at. Because inside of myself, inside of my mind, if my consciousness is at such a place of faith and knowing that all is well, regardless what's going on the other side of those windows, if I have that faith inside of myself, I'm going to be doing pretty good. I'm going to be living excellently on the inside. Even if things are happening in the world, again, I don't make that outside world into the place in which I live inside my mind. That's the difference. That's the difference. We can all have a penthouse consciousness. You just have to do the inner work to live there and don't let the outer world contaminate the penthouse. So I have a moving list for you. For those of you that would like to move your consciousness to a new place, here's a handy list. Number 1, make a list of the qualities you would like to make your home. So stuff like peace. I want to feel peace inside. Love. I want to feel confident. I want my faith to be really strong. Make a list of all of that stuff that you want in your inner penthouse. Number 2, now you do the work. I want you to observe your thinking and pay attention where you're really living, okay? But this is where the good stuff happens. So when you're in your life and you start getting angry about something or triggered by something, pay attention. Pay attention and say, oh my gosh, I am triggered, or oh my God, I am really pissed off. Now, before I go any further, I am not saying that this will eliminate any uncomfortable feelings from happening in your life, because they happen. This is just a way to deal with them. This is a way to move through them. This is a way where you're not living in them. They happen, but you don't live in them. They just pass through because you're aware. And it gives you an opportunity to do a little inner work and see, why is this pissing me off? This is growth. This is the evolution that Dr. Laura was speaking of. This is where it takes place. So once you've observed all this and said, wow, I'm living in anger, or I'm living in fear, here's where number 3 comes in. When you catch yourself living in a quality that is not where you want to live. Got to be honest with yourself. I don't want to live there. Sometimes I get really pissed off about stuff, and I realize I've come to such a place where I really don't like that. I don't like feeling like that, and I don't like being like that. I don't like what it does to me on the inside. And I've learned to see it and look at it, look underneath it. Why is this bothering me so much? But I don't allow it to just be my life. I look at it and say, wow, there's something for me to look at inside of myself that's probably going to expand my consciousness, but I got to unload this, unpack it, so I can understand me a little bit better. So when you catch yourself in a quality that is not what you want to live in, here's a little thing you can do. Hand on heart, because that's always a great place to make things move energetically. Put your hand on your heart and say, I choose to live in peace, or I choose to live in love. That's all you got to do. I'm not asking you to purchase a $1,000 program with me to figure out how to move your consciousness. It's as easy as taking that moment and holding it on your heart and just saying, I choose to live somewhere differently. It is a game changer, I am telling you. So I love The Wizard of Oz. It's so rich in metaphysical ideas. So you gotta love Dorothy, and there's no place like home, right? So this thing called home. We all have a home inside of ourselves. I used to call it the sacred sanctuary. There's just a place inside of ourselves that really is untouched by the world outside. And that place of home where we really want to dwell, that place called home where love is just abundant. We all have it, but we've lost sight of it. Those many mansions, that home is right there, but we've closed the door, or we just open it a little and peek in. But it's time for us to move into that home. We all have it. What's interesting about The Wizard of Oz, I was thinking about how there's part of it is, I don't know, I think they've ruined it and colorized the whole darn thing, and that totally ruined the artistic message of it. But it used to be where the first part where she's in Kansas was black and white. And then when she goes to Oz, it's color. And I was thinking, oh, it was so neat in Oz. It was so colorful, and there were all those really weird characters. You had the monkeys and the scarecrow and the yellow brick road. But what was really more meaningful to Dorothy was the black and white world, right? Where home was. Because home was love. Home was this unconditional love that embraced her, that made her feel okay and solid and comfortable in her world. Not Oz with all the fantasy and the color, but that little black and white world was so meaningful. So my point is that home doesn't need to be this big, dramatic, technicolor thing. It needs to be your heart space that means the most to you. That is home. And to me, that is where I want to live. Thank you so much for listening to us today. Have a great day.